The tweet was deleted in 12 seconds, but the algorithm saw it, the high-frequency trading bots saw it, and we saw it. For the last decade, Elon Musk has been the master of the supply chain, the man who could conjure lithium out of the Nevada desert and secure nickel from the jungles of Indonesia. But yesterday, at 3 a.m. in the Tesla Gigafactory war room, the silence was broken. 2 words were leaked to a private Discord server of institutional traders that changes the trajectory of your financial future forever. Inventory zero. You're looking at a market that is sleepwalking into a buzzsaw. The mainstream media is talking about interest rates. They're talking about election cycles. They're talking about distractions. Meanwhile, the single most critical component of the 21st century economy, the metal that makes the digital world physically possible, has just hit a wall that physics cannot climb. We are not talking about a shortage anymore. We are talking about a cessation of flow. We warned you about the silver bomb in our previous investigations. We told you that Tesla's shift to 48-volt architecture was a Trojan horse for silver demand. We told you that replacing copper with silver contacts to prevent high-voltage arcing wasn't a choice, but a requirement of thermodynamics. But what we didn't know, what even Elon Musk apparently didn't realize until 67 hours ago, is that the supply chain is not just tight. It is hollow. The panic inside Austin right now is not about the price. It is about existence. If you cannot get the silver tin oxide for the relays, you do not ship the Cybertruck. You do not ship the Model Y. The assembly line stops. And when a company valued at nearly $1 trillion hits a physical limit on the periodic table, the price of the commodity causing the stoppage does not go up by 10% or 20%. It goes vertical. It goes to a number that breaks the spreadsheets of the analysts at Goldman Sachs. This is the event horizon. We are currently 67 hours away from the Sunday night open in Shanghai. The Shanghai Gold Exchange knows what happened in Texas. The arbitrage traders in Singapore know. The COMEX in New York is the only place still living in the fantasy that silver is 30. When that bell rings, we are going to see a gap up that leaves the paper shorts vaporized. The "this is not good" comment wasn't about the car. It was about the realization that to keep the factory running, Tesla is about to have to buy every available ounce of physical silver in North America, regardless of the price. The timeline has collapsed. The 48-volt revolution just collided with the empty vaults, and the 67-hour countdown to the repricing of global silver has officially begun. Do not look away. This is the moment you have been stacking for. To understand why a deleted tweet from a billionaire signals the end of cheap silver, you have to look at the blueprint of the crisis. You have to look at what we call the physics trap. For the last 2 years, Wall Street analysts have been writing reports about how Tesla's move to a 48-volt architecture was a genius cost-saving measure. They said, look, higher voltage means lower current. Lower current means thinner wires. Thinner wires mean less copper. They sold copper stocks and patted themselves on the back. But they missed the law of thermodynamics that just slammed the door on the supply chain. When you quadruple the voltage in a vehicle, you create a dangerous problem called arcing. When a switch opens at 48 volts, the electricity is strong enough to jump the gap. It creates a mini lightning bolt, a plasma arc that reaches thousands of degrees in a fraction of a second. If you use copper contacts, that spark pits the surface. If you use brass, it welds the switch shut. The car fails. The steering locks up. The brakes don't fire. There's only one element on the periodic table that can handle that arc without fusing, one metal that forms a conductive oxide so that even if it burns, it still works: silver. Elon Musk and his engineers didn't just design a truck, they designed a silver vampire. Every window switch, every seat controller, every steer-by-wire relay in the Cybertruck, and now the refreshed Model Y, requires a slug of silver tin oxide. This isn't a thin plating. This is a structural requirement. And here's where the panic sets in. They calculated the copper savings perfectly. But they completely miscalculated the silver availability. They assumed the silver market was deep. They assumed they could just call the refiners and order 50 million ounces of high-grade shot. But they were looking at the paper market. They were looking at the COMEX inventories, which claim to have millions of ounces. But 67 hours ago, the procurement order went out and the metal wasn't there. The ghost inventory, the floating supply that has suppressed the price for 40 years, has been drained. We warned you that the deficit was over 1.1 billion ounces cumulatively. We warned you that India was vacuuming up the London vaults. Now, the most innovative company in the world has walked into the vault, expecting a mountain of silver, and found a note from the Chinese and Indian stackers that says, "We took it all." This is the tipping point. The 48-volt standard isn't just a Tesla standard anymore. Ford and GM are copying it to survive. They are all rushing through the same narrow door, demanding the same specific alloy. At the exact moment the mines are running empty. The Maginot Line of supply has fallen, the buffer is gone, and now the price has to do the work that the supply cannot. Let's run the numbers. Let's do the forensic accounting that the mainstream media is too lazy to do. To understand why Elon Musk is staring into the abyss, you have to quantify the silver bomb. Historically, a standard internal combustion car uses about 15 to 20 grams of silver. It's sprinkled in the window defoggers, the mirror motors, the basic electronics. A standard electric vehicle bumps that to roughly 30 to 40 grams. That increase alone has been draining the market for 5 years. But the 48-volt architecture isn't just an increase, it is a multiplication event. Industry estimates for high voltage contactors and relays dictate that when you move to 48 volts, the contact points must be thicker. You can't use a thin plating. You need a solid slug of silver tin oxide to survive the arc. If we assume the new architecture adds just 20 grams of additional silver per vehicle for the switches, relays, and redundant safety systems, and we add that to the existing EV load, we are looking at a vehicle that contains 50 to 60 grams of silver. That is approaching 2 full ounces per car. This might sound small to you. You have a tube of Eagles in your safe. 2 ounces is nothing. But the auto industry is a volume beast. There are roughly 90 million light vehicles produced globally every year. When the industry follows Tesla, and they are following Tesla, we are looking at a global fleet transitioning to this standard. Do the multiplication. 90 million cars times an extra 20 grams is 1.8 billion grams. That is roughly 58 million ounces of new structural demand. That is a ghost country appearing on the demand side of the ledger. It is as if a new nation appeared on the map and said, we need 50 million ounces of silver every year, starting right now. And where does that metal come from? The mining industry produces 800 million ounces a year. That number is flat. It has been flat for a decade. We are adding a 50 million ounce stress test to a market that is already in a 200 million ounce deficit. This is the math of extinction. Tesla isn't just competing with Ford for that silver. They are competing with the solar industry. They are competing with the Tomahawk missile production lines. And critically, they are competing with you. Wall Street thinks this is a supply chain hiccup. We know it is a geological wall. The mines are tapped out, the ore grades are falling, and the demand just went vertical. We are now entering the phase of the crisis that the textbooks call the soft default. This is the phase where the price on the screen becomes a lie. You might look at your phone and see silver trading at $35 or $40, but try to buy a 1,000-ounce bar. Try to secure a contract for 10 tons of industrial wire. The voice on the other end of the line will not give you a price. They will give you a lead time. 6 months, they will say, maybe a year. This is the unobtainium phase. Elon Musk understands this better than anyone. He knows that the auto industry is price inelastic. If a Cybertruck costs $80,000 and the silver inside it jumps from $50 to $500, the cost of the truck only goes up by $900. Does Tesla stop the assembly line because of a $900 increase? To the auto industry, silver is just a high-tech lug nut. It is an essential component that makes up a tiny fraction of the total cost, but without it, the product is a brick. This means the buyer is insensitive to price. They must just have the metal to finish the product. And because they must have it, the price of silver can go to the moon without destroying the industrial demand. But here's the nightmare scenario that triggered the "this is not good" panic. Even if Tesla is willing to pay $300 an ounce, the miners cannot simply turn a dial and produce more. You cannot print a silver mine. It takes 10 to 15 years to take a deposit from discovery to production. If we found a massive new deposit in Nevada today, it wouldn't produce a single ounce until 2040. But Tesla needs the silver for the Model Y next week. The timeline is broken. We are facing a supply air gap. For the next decade, the auto industry will be fighting over a shrinking pie of above-ground stockpiles. And this is where it gets violent. Because Tesla isn't just bidding against Ford. They are bidding against the United States military. They are bidding against Raytheon. They are bidding against the strategic imperative of the nation. When the procurement officer at Tesla calls the refinery and says, "I'll pay $100," and Raytheon calls and says, "We need that silver for guidance chips, and we have a Defense Production Act order," guess who gets the metal? The free market is about to end. We are moving from a price-based allocation system to a strategic allocation system. And in that world, the paper price is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is possession. The panic in Austin isn't just about geology, it is about geography. If you look at the map, you realize why the 48-volt revolution is walking into a geopolitical ambush. Tesla builds its cars in Texas and California. The closest source of silver, the Saudi Arabia of silver, is Mexico. For decades, this was a stable relationship. The metal flowed north, the dollars flowed south. But the political winds in Mexico have shifted. The government has embraced resource nationalism. They have banned new open-pit mining permits. They are demanding higher taxes. This is a strategic risk that the algorithms missed. If Mexico decides to hoard its silver, or if labor strikes shut down the major mines, the supply line to the gigafactory is cut. And Tesla cannot just call Peru. Shipping from Peru takes longer, costs more, and carries its own political instability. But there is a second, more dangerous choke point: refining. Most silver mined in Mexico is not pure silver bars ready for a Tesla relay. It is concentrate, a dirty powder that must be smelted and refined. And where are the smelters? Many of them are in China. If the ore goes from Mexico to China for refining, it enters what we call the Chinese gravity well. With China aggressively building its own EV fleet, with BYD challenging Tesla for global dominance, do you really think Beijing is going to refine that silver and ship it back to Elon Musk? No. They are going to keep it. They are going to sequester it for their own 48-volt transition. This creates a fractured market. It creates a North American premium. We are about to see a world where silver in Shanghai trades at one price, but clean silver, silver mined, refined, and delivered within the North American security perimeter, trades at a massive premium. A silver mine in Nevada is worth 5 times more to Tesla than a silver mine in Russia or China. Why? Because the Nevada silver is compliant. It unlocks the Inflation Reduction Act tax credits. It is secure. It doesn't have to cross an ocean patrolled by hostile navies. Elon Musk asked "this is not good" comment is the realization that he is competing for a shrinking pool of Western refined silver. The global supply might be 800 million ounces, but the accessible supply for a U.S. defense contractor or a U.S. auto manufacturer is a fraction of that. The walls are going up. The resource war has begun. Now we have to talk about the crime scene. While the engineers are panicking about physics, the bankers are panicking about prison. For 45 years, the bullion banks have played a game called naked shorting. They sell paper contracts for silver they don't have, to drive the price down and scare you out of your position. They thought they were safe. They thought supply was infinite. But 67 hours ago, when that Tesla procurement order hit the wires, the algorithm broke. We are witnessing what technical analysts call a commercial signal failure. Historically, when silver rises, the banks add more shorts to cap the price. It's a reflex. It's automatic. But look at the data from the last 2 trading sessions. As the price ticked up on the rumors of the shortage, the open interest dropped. Do you understand what that means? It means the banks aren't fighting the rally. They are fleeing the rally. They know the ghost silver is gone. They know the 48-volt pivot is real. And they know that if they are caught shorting a strategic defense metal during a supply crisis, the regulators won't just fine them. The market will bankrupt them. So they are switching sides. They are trying to cover. They are trying to buy back millions of ounces of paper obligations. But here's the trap. Who are they buying from? The miners aren't selling. They are holding out for higher prices. The recycling refiners are tapped out. And the Indian whales? They took delivery and sailed away. The banks are trapped in a burning building with only one exit, and Elon Musk is standing in the doorway holding a purchase order for 50 million ounces. This creates the feedback loop from hell. The industry creates a physical floor under the price. The banks, terrified of the physical floor, rush to cover their shorts. Their buying drives the paper price up. The higher paper price validates the shortage, causing more industry panic buying. Round and round it goes. We are about to see the Maginot Line of $50 obliterated, not by speculation, but by desperation. The short squeeze isn't coming next year. It isn't coming next month. It is mathematically inevitable the moment the Asian markets digest the news of the Tesla shortage. The paper game is finished. The physical reality has asserted itself. We have established the crime. We have established the victim. Now, let's talk about the getaway car. How do you, the individual investor, position yourself in front of a tsunami that is being driven by the richest man on earth? The first thing you must understand is that Sunday night is the trigger. When the Shanghai Gold Exchange opens, the arbitrage bots are going to look at the price in New York and the price in Shanghai. Right now, physical silver in China, driven by the solar panic and the battery panic, is trading at a massive premium. This creates a risk-free profit loop. Traders will buy the cheap paper contracts in New York and sell the physical metal in Shanghai. This arbitrage is the mechanism that forces the price higher. It is the invisible hand that will slap the COMEX awake. But while physical silver is your insurance, the mining stocks are your leverage. This is where the life-changing wealth is generated during a currency collapse. But, and listen to me closely, this is also where most people get slaughtered. You cannot just buy a silver ETF. You cannot just buy a random mining basket. You have to understand the difference between Loser Silver Corp and Winner Silver Inc. Imagine a mining company that got scared last year when silver was $25. To protect themselves, they signed a hedging contract. They agreed to sell 50% of their future production at $30 an ounce. Now, silver is rocketing towards $60, $70, $100. But that company? They are still selling at $30. The bank keeps the profit. Their stock stays flat. You lose. You must look for the unhedged producers. You want the companies that refuse to sign the death warrant. You want the companies that have 100% exposure to the spot price. When silver goes from $30 to $300, their costs stay the same, but their profit margin expands by 2,000%. This is called operating leverage. It is the reason a 10% move in the metal can create a 1,000% move in the stock. And you need to check the map. Remember the North American premium we discussed? A silver mine in Idaho or British Columbia is a strategic asset protected by the U.S. military umbrella. A silver mine in a jurisdiction with a history of nationalization is a liability. In the "this is not good" scenario, Tesla might not just buy the metal, they might buy the miner. We have already seen GM buy a stake in a lithium miner. Silver is next. If you're holding the stock of a small, high-grade, unhedged silver miner in Nevada, and the news breaks that Tesla is taking a 20% equity stake to secure their supply chain, your portfolio doesn't go up. It teleports. The 67-hour window is closing. The smart money is already positioning in these specific, unhedged North American equities. They are front-running the inevitable M&A wave. You need to be there before the press release drops. We have reached the final chapter of this investigation. We have torn down the 48-volt architecture. We have exposed the unobtainium phase. We have mapped the ghost country of demand that Elon Musk just inadvertently revealed. And we have handed you the playbook to front-run the greatest wealth transfer in history. Now, we stand on the precipice of a new week. The 67-hour countdown is ticking. The "this is not good" leak is circulating through the Discord servers of the largest hedge funds in the world. But before the market opens, I need to give you one final warning. I need to prepare you for the psychological warfare you are about to endure. The banks know they are cornered. They know the vaults are empty. They know the Samsung and Tesla narratives are taking hold. So their only remaining weapon is volatility. Next week, you're going to see price moves that will make you dizzy. You will see days where silver is up $5. You will see days where they try to smash it down $5 to trigger your stop losses. They want to induce motion sickness. They want you to get so stressed watching the chart that you hit the sell button just to get some sleep. Do not fall for it. Remember the Tesla scenario? Does a $5 price drop change the physics of an electric arc? No. Does a margin hike change the fact that the Cybertruck needs silver contacts to function? No. Does a scary headline on CNBC put the silver back into the ground in Mexico? No. The fundamentals are inelastic. The price volatility is noise. You have to detach yourself from the daily ticker. If you are checking the price every 5 minutes, you are playing their game. You are letting them rent space in your head. Instead, look at the premiums. If the spot price drops, but the dealers are out of stock, the premiums are rising, the drop is fake. It is a paper glitch in the matrix. The physical reality is your shield. We are entering a binary outcome, and silver wins in both worlds. Scenario A. The tech boom continues. Tesla, Samsung, and the AI revolution consume every ounce of conductive metal on Earth. Silver demand explodes. Price goes up. Scenario B. The dollar crash. The debt bubble bursts. Inflation runs hot, and people lose faith in fiat currency. Silver demand explodes as a monetary lifeboat. Price goes up. There is no scenario C where silver loses. It is the all-weather asset. It is the bridge between the old economy and the new economy. By holding physical silver today, you are doing something radical. You are front-running the procurement departments of the largest companies on Earth. You are holding the inventory that they need to survive. Eventually, the price will rise high enough to pry that silver out of your hands. But that price is not 30. That price is not 50. It is the price that hurts them. It is the price of "this is not good." You have the intel. You know the secret. The 67-hour window is closing. The silver bomb has detonated and the shockwave is coming. Make sure you are standing behind the shield. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. We will be live when the Shanghai market opens to track the arbitrage. The panic has begun. Don't be the victim. Be the bank. Class dismissed.